Tonight, we bring you an explosive expose on one of the most jaw-dropping clashes in modern late-night TV, a confrontation between tech titan Elon Musk and irreverent talk show host Jimmy Kimmel. In a series of biting exchanges that spanned 2 consecutive nights of late-night comedy, Kimmel delivered a salvo of scathing jokes targeting Musk's controversial actions as CEO of Tesla, his handling of public protests, and even his tongue-in-cheek commentary about cryptocurrency, DOGE. In response, Elon Musk fired back on social media by labeling Jimmy Kimmel an unfunny jerk. This verbal volley has not only set social media ablaze, but also opened up a Pandora's box of debates on political satire, corporate responsibility, and the evolving landscape of comedy in a polarized nation. We examine the historical and cultural significance of using comedy as political critique, analyze the repercussions for Tesla and the broader tech industry, and consider how these events reflect larger trends in American political discourse. Grab your popcorn and settle in as we dissect this remarkable showdown that has become the talk of the town. For decades, late-night television has served as both a mirror and a catalyst for political and social commentary. Tonight's events are a perfect example of that tradition. The stage was set when President Trump's executive orders, arson attacks, and controversies over Tesla's safety record provided a fertile ground for satire. But this particular episode stands apart, as talk show host Jimmy Kimmel took aim at none other than Elon Musk, a figure whose every word, every action, and every tweet is scrutinized by millions. Kimmel's monologues, delivered with a mix of biting wit and dark humor, cut deep into the nerve of Musk's public persona, questioning not only his business practices, but also his moral compass. It all began when Elon Musk, responding to recent protests targeting Tesla showrooms and charging stations, where arson attacks and even shootings have occurred, stated in a Fox News interview that Tesla was a peaceful company and that he had never done anything harmful. Musk's remarks were intended to calm the public and assert that despite the escalating tensions, his company remained committed to safety and innovation. However, the comment provided a juicy setup for late-night comedians who had been eagerly waiting for an opportunity to rip into Musk's persona. On that very night, as millions tuned in to see what the late-night hosts would say about the day's events, Jimmy Kimmel did not disappoint. With his signature blend of razor-sharp wit and fearless candor, Kimmel took the stage and launched into a monologue that would soon become one of the most talked-about moments of his career. "They say ignorance is bliss," Kimmel began, setting a tone that was both sardonic and ominous. "I know it sounds like a joke, but it's not. Trump famously said he loves the poorly educated, and now he will have so many more people to love." In that moment, Kimmel connected the dots between Trump's notorious remarks and Musk's own questionable behavior, suggesting that by gutting certain institutions and firing thousands of employees, Musk was, in a twisted sense, creating an audience of the poorly educated that he claimed to adore. Kimmel didn't stop there. He continued with a series of scathing remarks that drew comparisons between Musk's public antics and infamous historical missteps. Let me see if I can explain it for you. When you pull out a chainsaw to celebrate firing thousands of people, they get mad. This poor guy, you do 1, maybe 2 Nazi salutes, and everybody gets all bent out of shape, he joked, referencing a notorious moment at a Trump inauguration rally where Musk allegedly wielded a chainsaw on stage. The punchline, delivered with a perfect blend of shock and humor, had the studio audience roaring. Kimmel's willingness to mix political commentary with personal jabs struck a chord, forcing viewers to confront uncomfortable truths about corporate behavior, political partisanship, and the often absurd nature of modern celebrity culture. One to take such criticisms lying down, Elon Musk quickly responded to Kimmel's barbs. In a series of fiery posts on X, formerly known as Twitter, Musk fired back by calling Jimmy Kimmel an unfunny jerk. The terse retort was a clear signal that Musk was not amused by the host's humor. Musk's reaction was swift and uncompromising, a digital slap that resonated across the internet and added fuel to an already blazing fire. Musk's choice of words, while seemingly simple, carried significant weight. For a figure like Musk, whose every tweet is dissected by financial analysts, political pundits, and ordinary citizens alike, being branded as unfunny by one of America's leading late-night hosts is not a trivial matter. It is a challenge to his image, a direct confrontation between two very different forms of public discourse. Where Kimmel uses comedy to provoke thought and criticism, Musk's response is a blunt rejection of that criticism. The clash between these two titans of public personality has now become emblematic of the broader cultural battle between free expression in comedy and the hyper-competitive nature of celebrity branding in the digital age. As if the initial exchange wasn't enough to set the stage for further hilarity, Jimmy Kimmel doubled down on Musk during his subsequent show. On that night, Kimmel turned his attention to the ongoing issues at Tesla, specifically focusing on the recall of nearly all 46,000 Cybertrucks, a recall that marked the 8th such incident since the vehicle's debut in November 2023. Tesla is not having a good week, Kimmel announced, his voice dripping with ironic disbelief. Today, they issued a recall of nearly all 46,000 of their Cybertrucks. That's the 8th Cybertruck recall in just 15 months. 8 recalls. Kimmel's timing was impeccable. He referenced the recall in a way that underscored the chaotic state of affairs at Tesla, while simultaneously weaving in his trademark humor about technology, corporate mishaps, and even the absurdity of modern protest culture. I mentioned last night that multiple Teslas were burned at a Tesla facility in Las Vegas. He continued, and authorities are now investigating which Teslas were set on fire, and which set themselves on fire. His playful yet scathing remark was met with raucous laughter from the studio audience and provided a stark counterpoint to Musk's earlier assertion of Tesla's peaceful nature. This segment of Kimmel's monologue not only lampooned the technical and managerial issues plaguing Tesla, but also tapped into a broader narrative of corporate mismanagement and public safety concerns. The repeated recalls and incidents of arson painted a picture of a company in disarray, and Kimmel's jokes served to amplify the sense of absurdity by juxtaposing the highfalutin rhetoric of corporate leadership with the chaotic reality of product recalls and safety violations. Kimmel forced the audience to question the credibility of the very institutions that claim to lead the way in innovation. Yet the night's satire was not limited to corporate mishaps and product recalls. Kimmel also took a pointed dig at the nature of protests themselves, highlighting a seemingly bizarre double standard in public reactions to violent demonstrations. While no one should be setting anything on fire, ever, Kimmel observed, people are mad at Elon Musk for randomly and gleefully putting thousands of Americans out of work, including veterans. In this line, Kimmel drew a parallel between the destructive actions of protesters and the fallout from Musk's own business decisions, suggesting that some forms of protest are ironically more acceptable than others when they align with certain political narratives. He went further, referencing the MAGA gang's notorious disdain for violent protest. But the MAGA gang, who have been very against any kind of violent protest since January 7th, 2021, are highly upset, Kimmel declared, his tone dripping with sarcasm. That's when they started being against it. This quip not only mocked the selective outrage often exhibited by political extremists, but also underscored the contradictions inherent in a society where ideological purity is sometimes measured by one's reaction to violence. The interplay between Kimmel's jabs at Musk and his broader commentary on protest culture and political partisanship encapsulates the power of late-night comedy to challenge dominant narratives. With each line, Kimmel peeled back the layers of political rhetoric to reveal a more chaotic, often contradictory reality, a reality where the rules are made to be broken and where humor becomes a vehicle for both criticism and catharsis. To understand the full impact of these exchanges, it is essential to step back and consider the historical role of late-night television in American political discourse. For decades, hosts like Johnny Carson, David Letterman, and now Jimmy Kimmel and Jimmy Fallon have used their platforms to comment on the events of the day, offering a blend of humor and insight that has shaped public opinion in subtle yet profound ways. In a landscape where traditional news media can often be mired in partisanship, late-night comedy provides an alternative narrative, a narrative that is both irreverent and incisive, lampooning the excesses of those in power while also giving voice to the frustrations of ordinary citizens. One cannot discuss this story without considering the economic implications of the issues at hand. Tesla, a company that has become synonymous with both groundbreaking innovation and relentless controversy, finds itself at a critical juncture. With multiple recalls, including the recent recall of nearly all 46,000 Cybertrucks, and reports of safety incidents at various Tesla facilities, the company's image is under severe strain. Jimmy Kimmel's relentless jokes about these mishaps have not only entertained the public, but also underscored a serious concern. Can Tesla continue to maintain market confidence in the face of repeated operational failures? Economic analysts warn that if Tesla's safety issues are not addressed, the company could face significant financial repercussions. Each recall, each incident of arson or safety violation chips away at the trust that investors and consumers place in the brand. In an industry where technological innovation is prized above all, the cost of failure is measured not only in dollars, but in the very reputation of a company that once promised to revolutionize transportation. Kimmel's quips, while humorous, serve as a stark reminder that the high-flying ambitions of tech giants come with very real risks. Furthermore, the economic fallout from Tesla's troubles could have a ripple effect across the broader tech industry. As regulators and consumer advocates become more vigilant, other companies may find themselves subject to increased scrutiny and higher safety standards. The financial stakes are enormous, impacting everything from stock prices to consumer behavior, and the Musk-Kimmel exchange has only added fuel to the fire. As the debate rages on, it is clear that the intersection of corporate innovation, public safety, and market confidence is one of the most critical issues facing our modern economy. At its core, the conflict between Elon Musk and Jimmy Kimmel is not merely about personal insults or corporate missteps. It is a reflection of the broader political divides that define contemporary America. On one side, we have a president and a business leader who embody a particular vision of progress, one that prioritizes deregulation, local control, and a market-driven approach to governance. On the other, we have a media landscape populated by voices of dissent, critics who challenge the status quo and demand accountability from those in power. Jimmy Kimmel's monologues capture this ideological tension with a mix of satire and sincerity. His jokes about firing thousands of employees, his sarcastic reference to Nazi salutes, and his quips about Tesla's recalls all serve as a commentary on the state of the American dream, a dream that seems increasingly out of reach for many. In a nation where the gap between the rich and the poor continues to widen, the dismantling of institutions like the Department of Education is seen by critics as a betrayal of the promise of equal opportunity. Kimmel's humor, in this context, is a rallying cry for those who believe that progress should be inclusive, sustainable, and accountable to the people. Political analysts argue that the public's reaction to these events is emblematic of a larger shift in American society. As traditional institutions come under fire and the public grows more skeptical of unbridled corporate power, the role of comedy in political discourse has become more crucial than ever. Late-night hosts are no longer just entertainers. They are the new watchdogs using their platforms to expose contradictions, highlight injustices, and spark debates that resonate across the political spectrum. As we look ahead, the implications of the Musk-Kimmel confrontation for public discourse are profound. In an era defined by social media, where every remark can be amplified and every joke can become a meme, the power of humor to shape political narratives cannot be overstated. Jimmy Kimmel's scathing remarks have already sparked a nationwide debate, one that transcends partisan lines and forces us all to confront the state of our public institutions, our corporate practices, and our collective future. The lessons of tonight's events are clear. Humor, when wielded with precision and insight, can be a potent force for accountability. It can transform complex policy debates into accessible, relatable narratives that capture the imagination of the public. It can also serve as a reminder that in a democracy, no one is above criticism, not even a billionaire CEO or a high-powered politician. As we continue to navigate the challenges of modern governance and corporate responsibility, the role of late-night comedy will remain an essential part of the conversation. It is a testament to the resilience of free speech and the enduring power of laughter, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, humor can light the way forward. Amid all the political and economic analysis, it is important not to lose sight of the human dimension of this story. Behind Elon Musk's public persona and Jimmy Kimmel's razor-sharp wit are two individuals grappling with the pressures of modern fame and the relentless scrutiny of public life. Musk, whose innovations have transformed industries and reshaped the global economy, now finds himself exposed to the same vulnerabilities as any other public figure. His response, a curt, dismissive, unfunny jerk directed at Kimmel, may be read as a defensive reaction born of years of intense media attention and the weight of enormous expectations. For Kimmel, the stakes are equally personal. As a veteran of late-night television, he has built his career on the ability to see through political spin and deliver unvarnished commentary that resonates with everyday Americans. His decision to target Musk is not just about scoring comedic points. It is a reflection of his deep-seated belief that those in power must be held accountable, no matter how influential or innovative they may be. These personal dynamics add a rich layer of complexity to the narrative. They remind us that behind every headline, every viral tweet are real people with real emotions, and that the interplay between power and vulnerability is what makes the world of public discourse so compelling. The Musk-Kimmel exchange is a vivid illustration of this reality, a clash of titans that is as much about personality and pride as it is about policy and profit. As we draw this extensive report to a close, we must ask ourselves, what does the future hold for the institutions and individuals at the heart of tonight's story? For Tesla, the challenges are manifold. The series of recalls, safety incidents, and public controversies may force the company to reevaluate its approach to innovation and quality control. For Elon Musk, the pressure to balance visionary ambition with responsible leadership has never been greater, and every public exchange now carries the potential to reshape his legacy. For Jimmy Kimmel and the world of late-night comedy, the road ahead is filled with promise, and with the ongoing responsibility to challenge power and inspire change through humor. In a society where the lines between entertainment and political commentary are increasingly blurred, the voices of comedians will continue to serve as both a barometer and a catalyst for public debate. The Musk-Kimmel showdown is but one chapter in a larger narrative, one that speaks to the very core of what it means to be a citizen in the 21st century, where accountability, creativity, and resilience are more important than ever. As we move forward, the conversations ignited by this exchange will undoubtedly continue to evolve. Social media will keep buzzing, analysts will keep debating, and public opinion will continue to shift. But one thing is certain, the events of this night have left an indelible mark on our cultural landscape, challenging us to think critically about the nature of power, the responsibilities of leadership, and the role of humor in our collective pursuit of truth. Tonight's story is a reminder that even in a world rife with conflict, controversy, and complexity, laughter remains a powerful force for unity and reflection. The bold jokes and biting commentary of Jimmy Kimmel, juxtaposed against Elon Musk's uncompromising defense of his actions, serve as a microcosm of the struggles we face as a society. They force us to confront uncomfortable truths, question established norms, and ultimately find solace in the shared experience of humor. Whether you find yourself laughing at the absurdity of a Tesla recall or cringing at the thought of a chainsaw-wielding CEO, remember that each joke, each punchline is a call to engage with the world around us, to challenge, to question, and to never stop striving for a better, more accountable future. Thank you for joining us on this sensational journey through the Musk-Kimmel saga, a story that is as complex as it is compelling, as humorous as it is heartbreaking. Stay tuned for more in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and breaking news that continues to shape our understanding of the world around us. And remember, in a time of uncertainty, sometimes the best thing you can do is laugh. It's the first step toward change.